barn. Give everybody a minute here. Figure out their lives. How's everybody? Velocity, buddy. Wave at everybody. Make sure everybody feels welcome. It is finally. It's actually everything's melted. It's gonna hit -20 this week, though I hear. So, let me see if I can. We're having Big Bad Viktor with a K. I'm gonna ask about that. Let me see here. Oh. Give me a second. It's always shocking when this thing actually works. You know that, eh?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. You hear me?
Hey, there we go. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll back up a little bit. You got all your stuff in frame.
I gotta get represented, right? It's all in.
What is with like you're like the Home Depot rigid though? What's the difference?
Well, I'm both, but Rigid Red doesn't pay attention to me as much because I don't use all the $5,000 drain hogging tools.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's all right though.
But yeah, that's how it started was Rigid Red. Being in oil and gas, and we're using pipe wrenches like every day. And then And then when I wanted to look into a set of power tools, I got like the starter set, like drill, impact, saw, recip, and then bought a radio. And I was like, this is like way back in the early 2000s. And I just went with them because that was who I liked using pipe wrenches. So, yeah. That's
kind of how it goes, right? Like you buy your first like 2 tools and then you're set for life, right?
Well,
you just don't deviate. You pick your platform and there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just doesn't make sense for me to invest in a whole new platform no matter what. So
yeah. Well, that's fantastic. We're delighted to have you, Viktor with a K.
That's right. Thank you. It's good we were able to do this. We've been kind of trying to do this for like months and months, and now
I know.
Yeah.
You're a busy boy. I'm a busy boy. There's lots going on, which is good.
Yeah.
So we can fit this in between the craziness of the schedules.
Yeah, it worked out good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So tell us about yourself, Viktor. Why is it Viktor with a K? Do you even know?
My mother was born in Slovenia, so former Yugoslavia.
There we go.
So that's where the K comes from. And she immigrated to Canada when she was around 20 or 21 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's lived all over the country, various cities and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where the K comes from for sure. So
great. So you're like, are you technically like first generation Canadian then? Is that how that goes?
Yeah, first gen. I guess technically, yeah. My father was born in New Brunswick, and there's history in that side of it, but. Yeah, technically first gen and born in Calgary, Alberta. So one of the homegrown boys around here.
There's not many of us left. You know that, eh?
No, it's pretty rare. Yeah.
They're all Saskatchewan or way out on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, they're from Newfoundland, Saskatchewan, or a mix of all the other provinces together. So
yeah. No, I would say it's heavily influenced the Saskatchewan for whatever reason, and then the East Coast for sure, and then a smattering of the rest.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, you must still have family back there then?
Yeah, I do have some cousins and uncles. So, like, my mom was one of 7 kids.
Yeah,
she was the youngest, and the spread like the youngest to the oldest was like 20 years or so. Like it was traditional, like old farm family where they just kept having kids until they couldn't have kids anymore. And
That's
we
right.
kind of have a little bit of a reference point on that one. So, yeah. So, some of my uncles, unfortunately, I never met. Served in the Great Wars and stuff like that, and passed away. Whether that was contributing to it or not. And then I did meet two of my aunts, and
Okay.
they're both gone now actually as well. But I was able to go over there when I was younger and meet them and see the old traditional farms. Like the oldest of the sisters, she was in her probably 60s or 70s and still going out milking by hand every morning. And it was like, no TV in the house, maybe one radio. Like, yeah, it was pretty old school. So it was pretty cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we have no idea what that's like, right?
No.
How those people lived just their I don't want to say it's solitary life because it was all about family and the land that they lived on, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right?
And everybody knew their neighbors and where they were and what they were doing. And if you needed help to fix fence or raise a barn or whatever, that's what they would do. And like, there was vehicles, they had the pickup truck and the van or whatever to go to town and things like that. They weren't, like Amish style or anything like that, but it was just very, very, very old school. Yeah. Very old in the country. So
yeah, going into town was like the event though, right? Like once, either for, whatever.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up some supplies, or it wasn't just to, take a trip. There was something behind it, right?
There was purpose. For sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look for. Purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that's so. What brought your mom over here? Just was there conflict over there that brought her here, or
no?
Just
she was born in the former Yugoslavia, and if you want to do some research, and everybody listening to this, if you want to do some research, go look into that. You can realize that the I don't know, separation is the right word, but the war that divided Yugoslavia into Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, all those different countries, that started and ended in 1991. So it wasn't that long ago in terms of the world time clock.
I was in high school when that was going on.
Yeah, exactly. When I went over there, it was after, I think it was 94, and the roads, like picture Highway 2, like the rumble strips.
Yeah.
The whole road, because the tank tracks were still fresh. So like we'd be driving for whatever 50 kilometers on rumble strips. So you can imagine it's almost like a haunting kind of sound, like this is so recent, and like my mom took me to her original house in the small village.
Yeah.
Completely leveled from like bombing and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty eye-opening when I was young. I think I was about 10 years old when I went there. So but the reason she came over here, I think, was just she wanted to see what Canada was all about. Canada's always had a good reputation for being a place that if you can immigrate to and work hard, you can make a good spot for yourself. So
yeah, that's true. That's awesome. And what did she do here? Did she just get married and have kids, or?
But she, so I have a half sister as well, who is about, geez, now I got to think about this, 16 years older than me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then, then there's me, and so different marriages. So it was kind of like two different families, but everyone kind of got along all together. So
yeah.
She had, I believe what it was called in her background was like teachers college. So I think that was kind of similar to like what a college would be here, like Mount Royal was, or SAIT or whatever, like something like that. And so she worked mainly in accounting, and had her CGA and all that, and worked for various companies like Deloitte, CCM, Penn West, like a whole bunch of different oil and gas companies out here when she was out west. Different industries when she was living out east. So, but yeah, accounting was the main thing. So, yeah,
cool. That's awesome. So you're like You're like the baby of the babies then.
I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like some of my
You're
cousins,
like an only child. Like
well, yeah, basically,
all
yeah.
your aunts and uncles are like what? That would be like 30 years older than you type of thing?
Um, I have some cousins from New Brunswick that are younger than me. I think
Yeah.
there's two, maybe.
Yeah.
And then all of my like great cousins would be younger than me, obviously. But yeah, no, I'm like one of the younger ones in the whole tree conglomerate, if you will, of everything. So yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
And you said, like you said, born and raised in Calgary. So where'd you go to high school?
Wisewood.
Oh, I think I knew that.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
actually so I lived in New Brunswick for 5 years when I
Yeah.
was a kid. I think it was grade 4 to 8, sort of.
Yeah.
4. Went out there for a little bit and came back here. I honestly I liked it living out here way better. It's just kind of this is home, right?
Yeah.
No matter how many migraine headaches I get, it's still home. So yeah, I went to Wisewood for high school. I wasn't in the what do you call it border, like how they separate. You have to go to this school because you live
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wasn't in that border, but all the kids that I grew up with when I was living in Woodbine were going to Wisewood as well.
You were supposed to go to Scarlet.
I know actually I was supposed to go to Manning because at that time I was living in Signal Hill area.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Or Central. And what I did was I elected to take some of the international baccalaureate courses.
Yeah.
And these schools that offer that were either Western downtown or Wisewood. So it was basically like put your application to both and then see which school takes you because you're outside of the district attendee or whatever. So yeah, so I ended up going to Wisewood and, rejoined a lot of my friends from when I was a kid and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then, played basketball there at Wisewood, as you're aware. And yeah.
That's right. You and Ollie know each other.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, Ollie, he came. I was a senior, and he would have been just entering high school when I met him. So yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, small world. Yeah,
it is, right? And this crazy internet stuff only makes it smaller, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So high school's done. What are you doing? Like, what was your ambition? Be a billionaire or what?
My ambition was I'm not in high school anymore. Sweet. Yeah.
You and me both. That's actually, yeah, exactly.
It's funny about this. Like I was thinking about this before the interview today. So right out of high school, I went to Mount Royal College, which was still college at the time.
Yeah.
And I entered kinesiology university transfer program.
Yeah.
So it was to get your PE certification for teaching, as well as your kinesiology stuff. So I did that for a year and I was like, I don't want to do this for my job. Like I have this very big issue with people who say, if you find something you enjoy doing working, you never work a day in your life. Because I don't agree with that at all. Like,
it's not true.
And here's the basis of this argument. Okay. If I really enjoy it, I want to do it as a leisure item, not as my job. Because eventually, I think no matter who you are, you're going to get sick of it doing it as your job because of all the other kind of BS that comes into it, right? Like if you love coaching hockey and your aspiration is to get to the NHL, you're going to have days when you're coaching in the NHL that you absolutely hate your life because of media, right? Getting fired for, nothing you can control or something like that. Like just all
player stuff. Yeah.
So I just said to myself, like, I don't want to be teaching physical education to kids. I don't want to be doing sports as my kind of career path. So I left Mount Royal College after the first year. And then it was just kind of see where I'm going to go. And I did the regular, I was already working in bars and restaurants from the time I was 16. So I was working short order line cook when I was younger. I think my first real job was A&W in junior high.
Yeah.
just because of where my birthday fell, I could get a job like earlier than a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
So like they would be like, whatever, going out to play basketball or hang out in the field when they were like 13 or something, like not really doing much. And they'd be like, hey, let's go to A&W. And then I'd be working there. And they'd be like, well, how the hell are you working here? Well, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm making money. This is sweet, I can go buy a pair of sneakers if I want or something, just little. Anyway, I was working like kind of bars and restaurants. When I turned 18, like the day I turned 18, I was behind the bar doing like bar back and serving and things like that. So I continued that into various restaurant bars, and then the Glencoe club, like the golf course, and then the downtown club and stuff like that. And then working banquets and big venues and weddings and things like that. So I was there kind of in and out for a few years. And then I figured oil and gas was a good sort of career path. And I went to SAIT for my petroleum technology engineering stuff. So basically you did a 2-year program at SAIT, and then you could transfer to university and then do 3 more years and then have your PEng. Yeah. So the first 2 years of the program, like it's very jammed packed. Like I think you do 8 courses, 9, 9, and 9 for your semesters. Like it's very, like it's intense. And, very condensed. Yeah. So I was splitting the first year into 2. In between the first and second of my year, I went to work for Neighbors Production Services. Okay. So my off time, I was just doing service rigging there. So I was just basically a roughneck. Realized like I didn't want to be a roughneck. So went back to school. And then I got a job with it was Precision Energy Services is who I did my interview with. And then I got a job with Weatherford because Weatherford bought out that division. And it was in the well testing and underbalance drilling division. And then at the end of the summer, I was like, I really like this. And I'm seeing that a lot of my friends, even if they're graduating that PEng Tech or whatever you want to call it, the 2-year diploma, they're still having to get these kind of jobs to get experience. Because like I'd say oil and gas is one of the few engineering types of trades or career paths where field experience is way more important than book experience. Like it's not like civil and structural. It's just way different, right? So then I ended up staying with Weatherford for the next 10 years. So
there you go.
Yeah.
10 years. And so were you up in Fort Mac and all those places?
I avoided Fort Mac, but I was I avoided Fort Mac. I have been to Cold Lake and like the Bonnieville weapons range and all that stuff up there. But yeah, basically if you went
Medicine Hat then?
Yeah, so like 100 kilometers south of the territories in BC.
Yeah.
And then like, so you're up here, I guess. I don't know what this looks like on the camera, but basically if you know where BC is, British Columbia, and you go to the northern section, go 100 kilometers below the territories, and then draw like a big sort of crooked swipe, through Peace Country, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, Red Earth, like kind of like down that way, all the way through Brooks, and then out to Weyburn.
There we go.
Saskatchewan. So that was kind of like my territory, if you would. It was just wherever we had the work, so we'd go there. But so I worked in the field for 6 years, and then started moving out of the field into a field superintendent job, and then a training coordinator job, technical specialist to the sales team. And then I changed divisions and worked kind of in a similar technical specialist type of role. And then in 2016, the bottom was falling out of the bucket and everyone was getting laid off. So that's when I got laid off in January 2016. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of the oil field life, whether you know it or not, right? When you get into it, it's that, the word around here is that boom or bust mentality where we need 10,000 people. And then 2 years later, like 20,000 people are laid off because there's nothing going on, right?
It's very cyclical. And what was kind of funny, not funny, I guess is the wrong word, but do you remember like the 2008 recession?
Yep.
It didn't hit Canada as bad as it hit the US.
No, it didn't.
It hit us a little bit. I mean, oil was over $100 a barrel, and then like 4 weeks later it was at 32. Like it was crazy, right? So I had walked into my operations office in 2008, and I was like, "Can you give me a layoff slip?" Like I asked them, like, "Can you give me this? Like, there's not enough work here for me to stay here, but if I quit, I'm kind of hooped." And they said, "No, we're not starting layoffs yet. We're not going to entertain that. We still have enough work to spread around." And I'm like, "Okay." Literally, like 30 minutes later, like 6 guys got their layoff slips. Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, well." They couldn't tell me they were doing that stuff, but they wanted to weed out some of the dead weight, I guess you would say. And then now the work was okay because we, less guys to spread it around to. So I did end up staying there for quite a while and made it through that first round. I mean, our expression was the closer to the wellhead you are, the safer your job is. And in 2016, I was, downtown on the 16th floor. So it is what it is. Like,
yeah. That's where they do the whole floor layoff type of thing, right?
It was. I saw a lot of people walked out in 2015.
Yeah,
and it kind of wrecks your guts a bit when you see it happening, and you're just basically waiting, like, when is my time coming, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And very, I don't know. It's a bad time when you're involved in all that, and you know those people, and you've worked with them for years and all that. So.
And they're good people, right? Like, they're not. Yeah. It's not like you said. It's not like you're, getting rid of the dead weight or some of the meatballs or, the hanger on. Like, you're cutting into the meat of your company when those things happen, and you're letting good, qualified, hardworking people go.
Yeah.
Because. Yeah.
And both of the divisions that I worked for in Weatherford aren't part of the company anymore. Like,
oh, really?
It's not even like, oh, we're running on bare bones crews or anything. It's like they laid off everybody. It's either sold off or closed, and boom, done.
Done.
So,
yeah. It's an interesting. It's I mean, as you know, growing up here, not everybody realizes that. I mean, it's literally the lifeblood of Alberta in many respects, but it's that whole, it's fabulous times or it's awful times, and we're on. In my lifetime, I'm on whatever it is, version 5 of that. You're probably on version 3 of that, where you're like, it's just how it goes. 10 or 15 year cycles of
and like those who I guess are listening and they're not involved in this kind of industry, or it's not a main part of where they live. I would kind of like picture it like, okay, like Bob Baker is a master plumber, right? Like, you've been working, say, whatever it was, like, go back in time. You've been working 10, 11 years, getting to the top of your trade. And then someone comes in and says, Bob, sorry, we don't need you anymore. And you can't do your trade anymore. It's not that you can go to another company. It's that you can't do it because there is no work for you. So,
no, and I guess I didn't really emphasize that when when I said, what did you do? Because that's it's not like, all right, I'm done working for PJ's. I'm going to go work for Dick's over here. And, pay structure is a little bit different. There's a couple of different benefits. My office is 20 minutes farther away, or whatever the case may be. It's like, no, man, there's nothing. There's nothing you're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's like a life-changing event.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I mean, you must have had, like you said, in 2015, you watched lots of people walk away. So the next year you're out. Did you have a plan in place? Like, what were you thinking?
In 2015, my plan was I can't quit because if I get laid off, at least I get my offer.
Right.
So I'm just working as hard as I can, doing what I can to continue working and
get your severance package and whatever else.
Make the commission I can, make the bonuses I can, like, just do my job, like, not blinders like this. Like, I do know what's going on, but it was still, do my job, do it to the best of my ability. And if it happens, it happens. And it did. So when it happened, I kind of like evaluated my finances and things like that. And I was like, okay, if I do absolutely nothing, like don't work at all, I'm still okay for the next 8 months. Like, all the bills are paid, mortgage is paid, truck payment's paid, I can eat grocery, like everything's good. Like, this is doing nothing. Like, if I don't even return my empties, I can still be good for it. So I did that evaluation, and then I started looking at just what can I do to make income. That's kind of an extrapolated thought that well, I couldn't do that when I was working oil and gas because of the schedule and being away and, you know, being always on call, things like that or whatever. So that's one of the things I started doing was looking into refereeing hockey.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a funny thing. Like people will be like, oh, like, what do you get? Like $15 a game? It's like, no, you can actually make pretty good bank, especially when you progress to the higher levels. So
it's crazy, right?
yeah,
I'm going to ask you that.
sure.
Like when I was first married, I refereed basketball for the same reason. People are like, "You're insane." I'm like, "Dude, I make $85 a game," and that was whatever that was, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Not for the little kids, but for the bigger stuff. And it's back then it was like a 3-hour commitment for me to show up, ref the game. We usually did back-to-backs, and then so you're walking away with whatever that was, $160 for that 4-hour period. I'm like, that's not bad money. And you got to buy some sneakers and a stupid shirt.
Yeah.
And you're off to the races, right? So, do you guys do back-to-backs or do you just one game at a time?
So when I started, obviously, I didn't grow up playing hockey. I grew up playing basketball. That was my sort of sport of choice. And it wasn't like I did basketball in the season and then off season I did other stuff. Like I did 3 seasons of basketball all year round since I was, I don't know, grade 2, right? Like that's all I did. So that's a big reason why my ankles and my knees are completely shot. Because, and I've heard like Wayne Gretzky and stuff, like some of these elite athletes say this, like if you have kids playing sports, get them to do other things. Like he says, don't have kids playing spring hockey, have them play winter hockey and then play baseball or something.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to overtrain and demolish your body by the time you're 40. And that's where I'm at right now. But what I realized was since I didn't play hockey, like skating is not an impact type activity. So I can skate like no problem and it doesn't hurt my ankles. I do wear knee braces for support, but that's just in case there's collisions and things like that.
Yeah.
But when I started, I was only reffing on the weekends. So it was Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And I was doing between 7 and 9 games in 3 days. So I would do either doubles and then a break and then another one or triple straight through or whatever on Saturday, Sunday. And they started me at a level because I was an adult that you wouldn't necessarily start at if you were 14 or 15 starting out.
Yeah.
And I knew the rules of the game. Like I've been watching hockey my whole life and big hockey fan and I enjoy that. And being a part of the game this way is kind of fun too now. So I was able to make my way up to even A series hockey my second year. And
good.
Yeah, my first clinic, I kind of asked the instructor, I said, I'm in my 30s and I'm just starting. Like where can I get some more training? Where can I get some education and knowing how to do this better so I can progress quicker? And he basically told me, like, at your age, you will never reach A hockey. Like, I'm just telling you this right now. And I was like, oh, because of my age. Okay. So
that's when you decided to screw him and say, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You know me well enough. If you tell me I can't do something, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and I'm going
to do it.
I'm going to do it. Exactly. So like if you look at the AJ, which is junior A, I think just in the last, so it wouldn't have been 2 years ago because of the COVID thing. I think it was the year before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Year or two before, they just had their first 40-year-old ref in the league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when that happened, it like blew up everything. It's like there's no more age restriction. It's like, can you do the job or can you not do the job, right? Which is what I think it should be. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, I don't care.
Yeah.
If you do it, you can skate, you can keep up, you're smart with your calls, you're smart with your decisions, more power to you. So so I started getting into the A series of hockey games in my second year and moving up pretty quick. And then in 2020, I didn't ref. 2021, I didn't ref because I couldn't make any of the clinics because my side carpentry business was too busy. So I took 2 years off and then I came back this year and back into it. And I did a junior game on Friday and a AAA on Saturday. So it didn't go anywhere, like everything's still there. So it's good. Yeah.
And is that something that they're like, is there a demand for that? I mean, there's
Oh
so
yeah.
much hockey around here. I can't imagine that and is it, I mean, you start in like the men's leagues? Is that where you had to start?
Nope. I started through minor hockey through Hockey Alberta.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I did do a little bit of men's leagues, but I just don't like dealing with jabronis and stuff. Like I I had
What?
one guy said to me on a face off, like, you need to get this game in control. And I said, you need to get your life in control. We all have to go to work tomorrow. And
Exactly right.
everyone on the bench and everyone in the rink went silent because I said it pretty loud. Like I have a pretty loud voice when I need to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
kind of like backed off and he was like, yeah, maybe you're right. Like, let's just chill here. So I don't know.
There's no contracts being dispensed at the end of this game, dude. So just relax, my
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Like I walked off. I didn't walk off. I finished the game, but
Yeah.
I exited the game after and I called that coordinator and I was just like, don't bother putting me on any more of these leagues. Like I just don't have any desire. But so I don't do the men's leagues. I do some special groups if they call me and say, hey, we need a ref for a game or whatever. Some of the guys I know and stuff like that, I'll do that. But mainly it's minor hockey through Hockey Alberta. And I don't have to travel to stay busy, which is good.
Yeah.
So,
that is good.
yeah, like within your schedule, I guess, or whatever, your interface, your application that you put in your availability, you can black out rinks. So like I don't have to go to like Okotoks or Banff. Like I could just black it out. So when they're looking for refs, if my availability is at that certain time, but it's not that certain rink, then it won't show them.
Yeah.
So I have like the Cochrane rinks and Edge School, and that's all I need to do. Like I don't need to. If I wanted to, like if I was younger, like the two guys I refed with last night are 22. Their aspirations are to get to like major junior level.
Yeah.
So they do as much hockey as they can. Like they're doing 40 games in a month, like no problem. They're doing wherever they can. They go to Banff, they go to Cochrane, they go to Calgary, they go to Cremona, they go to Airdrie, Red Deer, like wherever they need to go so that more eyes can see them and the more hockey they get and all this. I'm 38. I'm not going to be going to major junior. I'm just doing as exercise and some extra income. And because I like doing it, it's fun to kind of be part of the game, still.
Yeah.
And and the teams we have in this town, like the junior B, the junior C, and minor midget AAA, which is U17 AAA, like it's good. Like they're all the kids who are drafted and going places, right? Like they're good players. So
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That Edge School's insane. My daughter played started playing some basketball up there, and I as I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Took the tour of the whole place. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Got 2 full-size rinks in there.
So you know Eddie, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So when I was at SAIT doing the petroleum ticket, I did the announcing for the men's and women's basketball team. So I was the PA announcer for the basketball. So I knew Eddie and I knew a bunch of the players who were on the team because I'd actually played with them in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool too. But yeah, I've known Eddie for years, and then
I played against Eddie for years, so that's
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first thing, I guess, if you want to say like what did I do in 2016 as a plan. The first thing was like, okay, I can skate relatively well. Let's start looking into getting some gear, getting the equipment I need, get my clinics done, all that. And then another sort of side thing that started was my building partner in my carpentry business came to me and said, I think we could start this sort of smaller agricultural shelter building business, because he was getting approached by people for the custom dimension and custom material sheds that you couldn't go to UFA or Canadian Tire or Home Depot or Home Hardware and buy. You just couldn't.
That's how we first interacted, right? Was with your stickers up there with the horseshoe and the horse, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the birth of Wild Rose Shelters. Was in
that's what it is.
We started, and it was I'd take everything out of my pickup truck, load all my tools, miter saw, table saw, whatever, drive to site. We'd build it on site. We'd tow it out to the pasture with the truck, whatever, load back up, and we just do that on the weekends. Like that was just how it started. And we just built a good client base, and we've had a lot of business from return clients, and it's never repairs. It's always just, we want more of this, or we want this different thing. And then it culminated into that big Avery project we did last year with the timber poles, and like that thing was massive. Like, I'll never do that
That's
again.
crazy and impressive.
It was very, very large. Like I hired, I don't know if you know Braden Watt through Instagram. Yeah. So I basically hired him as a carpenter apprentice to come help. So he was with us for weeks and weeks, and he would drive down on the weekends and help us. My wife helped. Her parents helped. Like, we just hired hands, whatever we could. Just, this is what I need you to do. Can you use a tape measure and cut a piece of wood? Great. I'll tell you how to put it together. Like, that's what I need. So that was a lot in 2021 that we were doing there. But yeah, so it was the reffing started. It was the carpentry business that sort of kicked off then. And then getting into the career I'm in now with building operations, that was kind of a random left turn, but an operator got injured basically in the winter. From what I know, using a ladder in a back of a building, and there was some ice, and he slipped and broke his leg. So he was off for a while, and they needed somebody to come in as like a maintenance tech fill-in for 3 months. So I walked in and was like, yeah, I know how to use tools. Like, I was in oil and gas in the field. I don't know dick about HVAC. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it. But I know how mechanical systems work, gas systems, plumbing. Like, I can understand it. I know a basic electrical to get me by, things like that. So they said, okay, we'll offer you this cash rate per hour, no benefits, no nothing. Signed the 3-month contract, and I said, yeah, sure. I got nothing going on right now except for these other 2 things that hockey was just finishing. So I signed that deal, and then 2 months into it, they brought me into the office and said, would you consider working full time? And, I didn't really have other prospects coming at me right then. And I was like, I kind of like this. Like, it's different every day. And it goes back to that. It's different every day. Exactly. It goes back to that. If you find something that you really like, you'll never work a day in your life, or you know what I mean? Like, whatever that expression is. Yeah. I totally screwed that up, but you know what I mean. I'm talking here.
We'll go back to the beginning. Well, you said it right the first time.
Yeah, I said it right the first time. What is it? If you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
A day in your life. Yeah.
So what I love about this is that it's different every day. Like, I'm not doing the same thing every day. So that's what I like about it. And that's where I really found it in myself. Like, when I was doing in oil and gas was similar to that, because every job I went to was different. Like, sometimes we'd be working heavy oil. Sometimes we'd be working sour gas. Sometimes it was high pressure sweet. Sometimes there were tight formations, like wireline jobs, coil jobs, rig jobs. Like, it was just, we encapsulated like everything, right? We got to work with every type of trade service in oil and gas in what my basis was. And that's totally what building operations is. So 2 months in, they offered me full time, and yeah, it's kind of taken off from there. So
did you have to go back to SAIT? Did you get your power engineering stuff?
I don't have my power engineering. It's on my list of things to do. The reason I didn't take it was most of the buildings, unless you're working in towers, don't have boilers anymore. Even the building that I did have a boiler in, the footprint was just underneath the 5th class, what do you call it? Regulation, I guess. They measure it, and then you get your kilowatts. So the ABSA kilowatt rating is if it's 20.0 or larger, you need a 5th class. And all the buildings that I've had boilers in are like 19.98. So like, they're just under that. So I can still operate them and operate the boilers without needing my 5th, which has been great for me. What I did focus on was my systems maintenance technician designation, which is like a more larger scope of information. So it covers more stuff than power engineering does. Power engineering covers a little bit of the electrical and plumbing and stuff like that, whereas the systems maintenance technician goes into it a lot more. Like, it teaches you, okay, if you need to service a 347 motor, this is how you do it. Like, if it's more technical that way. And if you have your 4th class power engineering, it only gets you 1 course for your systems maintenance technician. So yeah, so I did that, and then I'm working on my systems maintenance administrator right now, which is a step up from the technician, and it's 3 more courses. and then you have to do a 25 out of 35 hour like skills. Like, you know, I've done this, and then you have to get your employers to sign off on those things that you've done. And then there's a
Similar to the apprenticeship program.
Basically, yeah. So like, you know, they have a large scope of things. Like within those 35, like one would be, did you work on a submarine operating equipment? Because people who come out of the military can transfer some of that skill set into something else. So obviously, that's not
You
me.
didn't check that box.
No, I can't check that one. But I can check, you know, have I supervised others? Have I operated boilers in a building? Have I gone through tender processes and put contracts out to contractors and things like that? So there's a whole big list. So you end up teching off whatever, and the employers will sign off on your hours for that. And then there's a continuing education component as well, where you have to have a certain amount of continuing education every 2 years to maintain that systems administrator status. So
Is that just the administrator, or once you get your tech, are you a tech forever?
So I'm a tech forever. So I have that right now. And then once you're a systems maintenance administrator, that's the one that you have to keep a current status, I guess you would say.
Yeah. Revolving door on that one.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And does that, I mean, obviously the scope is bigger. Does that offer you more opportunities, like in your field?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you kind of look at the steps you would take, like from a maintenance technician to a building operator to a senior building operator, operations supervisor, operations manager, director of operations, like that's kind of your progression. I would like to stay in a capacity, at least right now, where I can still be out on the tools with the guys, just because I think that's more of my strength. Some of the trades, when they heard that I came back to my current employer and I had an operations supervisor position, they're like, yeah, I didn't see you sitting in an office, you know, pushing papers. And I'm like, yeah, no, I might be in the office 3 or 4 days a month, but I'm still out with the guys doing stuff and helping them out and trying to not necessarily train them on what they're doing, because sometimes they just know what they're doing, but even just be there to help them and then maybe suggest like, hey, here's a quicker idea to do this because I've done this too. Have you tried this or whatever? Some of it's just, you know, I don't want you on a 12-foot ladder when it's hurricane winds outside. I'm going to come hold the ladder for you. Like just something simple as that. Because we work a lot by ourselves, right? Like there's no crew. So, yeah.
Yeah. And how many buildings are you looking after now?
I think we're around 30 in Calgary at that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we have some downtown stuff and then a lot of retail strip outside of downtown, all 4 quadrants. Yeah.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome. That's one of the things that I've been trying to get the boys, but Isaiah's got his ticket and I've said, dude, that's great, but you should, you know, it's plumbing and gas. There's a billion other things to learn about what we touch every day. You should look into that, some of that system operation stuff and see what, or in fact, I was telling him to look into power engineer. I won't lie to you. That's what you just said is sort of the first time I've heard about the systems operation side of things. Is that at SAIT as well, or is that a different organization?
It's through, I might screw up the acronym here, but it's through BOMI or BOMI Institute.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's Building Owners and Managers Institute. Yeah. And it's very real estate property management focused. So they do the other side of it too, where you're looking at like real property administrators, facility maintenance coordinators, things like that, like the downtown office side of it, doing budgets and tenant relations and things like that. So they have programs like that, or they have the operations style programs. And you don't necessarily have to jump right to the technician level. Like you can get different certificates as you go through. But I just didn't do that. Like basically, if you look at the number of courses you need 5 courses to do your systems maintenance technician. I just started doing all 5 and registered as a technician doing this program. You could take like 3 and then get your certificate, whatever that one's called. I can't remember at the moment, but it's through the BOMI Institute. Yeah.
No, that's cool. It's fascinating. It doesn't matter. It's anytime I talk to anybody, whether through here or just in the day to day on a different, you know, field that I'm not particularly well versed in, like it's just the depth of education that goes into it, the level of support that is there for people that sort of go down those paths is always, it's stunning, frankly, and awesome that there's that sort of backup for it. Like there's no reason that you should be doing anything sort of willy nilly, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I understand. There's so much education and support behind all that stuff, right?
Yeah, like when I got that offer 2 months in, I immediately started looking like, okay, well, how do I improve like the up here, right?
Yeah.
And I took an HVAC optimization course through Bowman Calgary. I took my building operator level 3 course. Like this was all within the first year.
Yeah.
And started it from there, and then just started looking. Like I did look at the power engineering, and I'm like, yeah, this is a great course, and a lot of places ask for it. But the only reason they're asking for it is because if they have a boiler that needs that through ABSA. And like, to be honest, I've had discussions with ABSA, like, can I just challenge the exam? And they've said, no, I need to do the course. I need to do my hours and everything. So like, if you look at gas fitting, I think B is 400,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can do up to half. B gives you up to $500,000. $499.
Okay. So we would be out in oil and gas, taking, like a Big Joe regulator. Does that verbiage? Yeah. Okay. Tying a Big Joe regulator into a pipeline, running all of the pipe work to a 2 BTU burner.
Yeah.
And then adjusting the air fuel ratio with our hand in a tube until we got the right color. And when we were lighting them, we would light a methanol soaked rag on a stick and stick it in, and then crack the valve on the pilot and watch your hard hat get blown back sometimes. Like this is what we did. And they're telling me that I can't work on 500,000 BTU.
It's so, it's craziness. I have my A because it came as part of when I went to school, which is fine.
Yeah.
But even with, they made me take with one of the hotel chains that we look after. They said, you have to take your power engineering. I'm like, okay. I didn't know anything about it. That was 15 years ago. So I take it. It's all online, blah, blah, blah. I go to take my test, and some, a 25-year-old lady walks into this big, massive boiler room that we're working on, or that I'm going to take my sort of practicum on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, so there's a problem with the boiler. What do you do? I'm like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. And she's like, no, wait, like you got to back that up. I'm like, shut off she's like, no, you don't touch anything. You have to call a master plumber. I'm like, well, I am a master plumber. They're making me take this course. She's like, wait a second, what? Let me see your ticket. So I show her my ticket, and she's like, let me just sign you off on this thing, because you literally have to phone yourself to approve yourself to work on the equipment that's in this room. So it's
something that bothers me with like property management and building operations in general, especially in Canada. There's a lot of companies that oversee buildings, and their operators, it depends where you are regionally. I think that's a big discrepancy, but I've had operators message me on Instagram and stuff, and they're like, man, I can't even change the light bulb where I work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm not allowed to be on a 6-foot ladder.
It's true though,
right? And they're like, well, I call in the electrician. They're the coordinator. They're the job coordinator. This trade goes here. This trade goes there. This is the work order we have. Did you get this finished? Like they're a coordinator, right? They're not like a maintenance operations person to me. I don't think it's the right title for them, but
I agree with you. I was shocked and we had a long conversation and a positive conversation with this gal. I forget her name, and she was with ABSA, and I don't know the power engineering conglomerate, whatever you want to call it, with that organization that she was with, but she was like, yeah, no, basically your job is to shut off the power and call the plumber.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's your job. I'm like, that's like you just said, it's just, okay, so I'm doing all this work so that I can have a Rolodex and phone the people that I trust to come working on this stuff. So it's a bit bananas, right?
Like even our downtown guys, like they're doing all of their water tests, blowdowns, adjustments on the fill and the, what do you want to call it? Pumps and everything, like what our rates are and everything like that.
Yeah.
For like the hot water circulating. And then we actually have a
Oh,
steam
yeah.
well
Yeah.
in our building. So they're doing all that stuff, right? They're a little more fun. But yeah, like what I always hear from trades that I encounter working with is like I don't see building operators do what you do, right? Like when I call them and be like, hey, this rooftop unit has a bunk pressure switch. Can you go to the supplier and pick one up and then go put it in? And they're like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, because I know. Just bring here's the photo of what you need to bring. I got to go to another work order. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then they'll call me and be like, yeah, it was the pressure switch. How'd you know that? I'm like, because I followed steps. Like, just don't discuss this more than we need to. Just fix it. Like, so.
I'll admit, Victor, you're the only building operator that you and Pete were in that crazy, stupid crawl space on whatever building that was.
Yep.
And Pete came home with the story. I'm like, Victor was in there with you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, we deal with building, operators all over the place, and everybody's like, yeah, no, it's in there. And call me when you're done.
Like, you'd love this. So we had a roof leak called in at a grocery store, and it turned out to be the MJ on the 6-inch cast was loose, and there's no hanger on the first horizontal. It's like a 2-foot section. So pitch went back pitch, so it sunk, right? Like you could see that it sunk out of the. So 6-foot ladder onto the top of a dairy cooler, 12-foot ladder leaning against the wall, all the way up, and I was through basically like a 12-inch square because the refrigeration lines and the hanger for the refrigeration lines were right underneath. Roof drain.
Where you needed to work. Yeah.
So I loosened the hanger a bit and come across, and like, I was surprised. It felt like I was like in a birth canal or something. I was putting my shoulder up like this, and then I crawled up through, could barely get my waist up, and then I used my electric ratchet, my rigid electric ratchet, that one. And so I was reaching like as far as I could to get to this MJ, and it was loose as all heck. So I tightened that one, tightened the next one, tighten the next one, tighten that. I had my little magnet level on the bottom of the pipe, so I kind of adjusted my pitch. But how I adjusted the pitch was putting a ratchet strap around it up to the roof truss. And then So I'm doing all this, and it's like I could have called a plumber to come in and do it, but would the plumber have been able to fit where I was fitting? And would he have the height?
I would have to send Pete.
He's the only one I've seen getting in smaller places than me. So
yeah, exactly.
Up there, yeah. So things like that. Like I had one building operator with me. He was holding the ladder for me, standing on another ladder, like holding the 12 foot. Right. So it weren't unsafe. Like it was a safe process.
It's as safe as an unsafe situation can be.
Exactly.
Which is frankly is how lots of these things work. Like, you know what I mean? How can you do that? I'm like, listen, we're making an unsafe situation as safe as possible.
Yeah.
So the risk is minimal, but you never take all the risk out of a job, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you never will. If you're dumb, like if you do something, if I was using my electric ratchet and it slipped out of my hand, it could have fallen 24 feet to the ground because I couldn't tie it off because I needed to be able to go all the way up. My tie-offs aren't 6 feet long, they're 3 feet, right? So it is, but I look at those kind of situations and then I think some operators that just call and say, hey, fix this instead of finding a solution that themselves to do, I just don't agree with. So
well, actually, I won't lie to you. I would suggest to you as an outside observer that's maybe comes from some of that old school your heritage that you went back and saw how things were done. You're like, listen, we can just do things without just let me use my brain.
Yeah.
Let me figure out all the angles and be safe and as careful as I can be. But this is a solvable problem. with a little bit of brain power and, some proper use of or inventive use of proper tools to make things work, right?
Yeah, like I look at one of the properties I took care of years ago. The only way I could get to the pole lights to change the lamps was to bungee cord a 12-foot step ladder to them.
Yeah.
And then the wind started coming, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this, right? Like, these are not good. So I just said to my manager, I was like, I want to start being able to use a lift. Like, so I could just do the whole property at once, drive around, up and down, safe, nice and easy. Okay, well, what do you need for a course? I need to go take this through the Alberta Construction Safety Association. Okay, sign up, go take it. Company reimburses you for education to improve yourself. So I did that. And then next time I went to the property, a rental lift got dropped off. I did all the things. It was great.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot safer than trying to do it with a ladder. That's for sure. Yeah.
No doubt. And quicker.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I promised everybody that we try and keep these things within an hour or so. But you guys do your own little maintenance podcast too, don't you?
Yes.
Don't you guys get together?
Yeah.
Well, give yourself a shout out on that.
Yeah. It's Maintenance Maniacs Podcast on Instagram is what our handle is. You can also email us at maintenancemaniacspodcast@gmail.com. We're on all the major distributors: Google, Spotify, Apple, Anchor app. We try to do one once every month, and I'm slapping myself saying that right now because we're not. We just haven't been able to reach that.
It's hard to do, right? Like, I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing, and then anyway, life gets in the way, right?
Different time zones.
Hockey
season's in the way. I'm playing hockey on Wednesday. I'm reffing 2 days a week. Like, it's stuff.
You're a freaking goalie too, aren't you?
What's that? Sorry?
You're a goalie too.
Yes. Yeah. I've played goalie a little bit like 10 years ago.
Did you?
And
you like it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fun. And I said, I'm going to start getting back into it. So I bought some used equipment last spring. Like 5 or 6 games in the spring. And then now I'm committed to, I think, 37 this winter.
Did you play for different teams? Because I know like that's a bit of a thing. Like, you need, like, goalies are hard to come by.
If you want to know something, and we can go over an hour if you want. I don't care.
No, okay.
There's an app called the Goalie Up app, I think it is. And we'll put out requests like, I need a goalie at this rink. We'll pay you $40.
Yeah. You can literally make money playing goalie, right?
The ones I turned down this week alone, I would have made $160.
Really?
Yeah. So that's another option if you're out there and you're strapped. Get some goals.
Where there's a will, there's a way, right?
That's right. But yeah, sorry. Back to the podcast thing.
Back to sorry. I derailed you there for a second.
Yeah, okay, it's all good. C. Wilcox, maintenance professional. He's on Instagram as well.
Yeah, we've chatted. We have a few whatever.
Yeah,
chats back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's more in like the industrial side of maintenance, working at a chemical plant. So we kind of different aspects of the industry, and basically the podcast started because we were both getting messages from people saying like, can you start a podcast because we want to learn some more. That's what it started. Like, I really don't care if more than 100 people listen to each episode, but if those 60, 70 people who were asking for it do, and they get something out of it, then that's great. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And you've been doing that for what, a year or more now, haven't you?
Yeah, about a year, I'd say. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. And so are you all over the country, like in the States as well? Isn't there like 4 of you?
On the podcast? No, it's just Chris and I. But we do.
Oh, it's just Chris and I.
We do what we call on call with an operator.
Oh, there it is.
An interview segment where we'll have our operations person come up. So we interviewed at some guy with tools who's an operator in Texas. And then no worries _ I can fix it. Fabio, he's another operator that's based out of the US as well. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's going good.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, it's gonna cut me off. I thought they got me back to the 4-hour thing. Didn't me and Turbo do it?
I don't know.
It says on here I got 14 seconds and then it's gonna kill me.
Okay.
So we'll end this and then I'll invite you back in. We'll keep going. All right. Sound good?